I've, like I said, found myself in so many scams and schemes, especially, when I first was getting into like just spirituality in general and like doing law of attraction and all right, so we're gonna do some affirmations, some new convictions on really just revising the assumptions that lead us to betrayal, getting scammed, getting manipulated. I find that, when I first started really committing to the law of assumption and I was working with clients, and before I even started working, and I've always had a very strong need to like be in truth, be in integrity. I grew up with a very different background where there wasn't. And I think if you look at the cultures growing up in the 90s, in my particular case, everything was about lying. Like every mainstream movie was about deception and schemes and like get rich quick, and like manipulation was just like relationships. That's just like you manipulated the wife, the husband to get what you wanted, and you told white lie. Like it was just so like, hey, this is life. And then in my personal life, there was tons of, I can relate a lot to everything that has to do with like being the scapegoat of a family, so it's like everything's my fault. And everyone pointing to the picture. I mean, I was easily convinced, especially obviously at a young age where you are malleable, that everything is my fault. Everything, like I truly wasn't allowed to discover who I was because I was told who I was by everyone, and it was not pretty vision, right? So, I think about when I was getting into acting, I wanted to be an actress so bad when I was younger because, now looking back, it's like, well, I was already getting assigned roles. I might as well get paid to do it, get some attention and love from it because, that wasn't happening through my perspective. There was I felt so much neglect, especially I just wasn't seen for who I was. And during those formative years where you're discovering who you are and you're told something completely different, I think so much of my desire for truth and to discover not just in this case the law of assumption and consciousness being the only reality and pearl of great price, I have this intense need for truth about who I really am, who others really are, and the power we all hold. Okay, so the beauty of if you've been manipulated, if you've been betrayed, if you've been scapegoated, if you are constantly blamed and the false self that's projected onto us, the gift and the paradox in all the contrasts in our life is there's always, I find, this seed of truth, right? That even through my entire like years of my subconscious being so malleable, and when I look back, and I've revised a lot of this, but I can look back neutrally and see that like every role model in my life essentially told me a lie. They all played into what their projection of me was. And the truth in that I've found for myself is when someone is scapegoated like hard, and I love reality TV, and I'm going to talk more about that. And another coach and I are going to start doing little podcasts on that because we love breaking it down, the psychology and the law of assumption. But it's the people that hold a ton of power just innately that I find get so much energetic pushback like right away. And I would find that I'd walk into a place, I'd be brand new, and the people, even in the coaching sphere, especially in the coaching sphere, the way people will try to come in and project all their stuff onto me and then blame me and try to make me the villain, all that. It's a pattern that the truth in it for me is that if I can still and even further gain my power back, right? Of like, no, it's my job to revise that people feel that they can even touch me like that people feel that they can even project that onto me. We're going to revise that. For me, it's also important that I see people that they can handle their shame and their guilt. And they actually want to evolve with me because they are me pushed out. Just like I want to evolve, just like I want to be in my truth, just like I'm willing to be uncomfortable and change and learn and grow. So does everyone. I believe this for my clients. I've had to revise it around people I work with, people in my life, that they also want to grow and evolve because they are me, right? They're a reflection of me. But I first have to be aware of the assumptions that create manipulation, that create, what can be a predatory and victim type like role playing out here in our 3D world. And most importantly, to me, it's about anything that tries to convince you that power is outside of yourself. And whether it's trying to convince you or not, even that, it's like that's your consciousness just playing out an assumption we took on that people can take my power, people can manipulate me, abuse me, people can, put me in a hard corner and I have to make decisions I don't want to. These are all assumptions that we are revising so they no longer have to play out, because even that is your consciousness, but that does not mean you did it consciously, okay? Another big thing I've noticed is like this blame and guilt, and it's not the blame and guilt, the feelings of that are just indicators, but the assumptions that come with it, like I did something wrong and I messed up. We got to eradicate all that stuff where it's like, it happened, it's neutral. I don't have to invalidate it. I don't have to avoid it. I can see it, right? For a while with a lot of assumption, I wouldn't even like watch scary stuff and I wouldn't watch reality TV. And I was avoiding it because the fear was, what I put my awareness on, I'm going to manifest more of. And now it's like, well, I can see it. I can enjoy it. I can understand more of the assumptions at play. What gets a reaction out of me, I know I can revise it, because the rest I can be totally neutral with. And if I'm not neutral there's something to revise. No big deal, right? But it's all in my power. It's all in my control. And this takes time. It takes maturity. It takes, like, the reason I don't worry about people using the law in a wrong way to manipulate others or hurt others is because the emotional maturity it takes to actually stick with a wish fulfilled when all of these negative assumptions are coming up and beliefs are coming up. Someone that really is like, their MO is to get rich quick, it's to manipulate, it's to victimize, it's to whatever. It doesn't have the stamina. People like that, it just never has the stamina to withhold what it takes to bring a vision into form that's really aligned with the mind, heart, and gut, like all parts of you, full embodiment. That's why it's like you can do robotic affirmations, you can do all these things, but if it's not really connected to your heart and your body, and it takes time to like uncover who you really are and what you really want and the heart. And, yes, you could go into the reality where it doesn't take time because time comes from you. I like the merit of like, if it's all in the now, but in every moment something new is being expressed, I'm cool with that. It's okay. Like there's not that urgency. And if there is urgency, I give it to myself in imagination, which is a discipline, right? And this is all the emotional maturity that comes with really practicing the law in a way. Like there's just an intelligence to it. You have to have maturity to endure, to persist. You have to have compassion if you're going to do everyone with you pushed out, and to see the best in yourself and others. I know a lot of people, and I've gone through this, of course, where it's like, I don't want to revise them. I'm mad at them. I want to punish them. I want to hurt them. All right, I'll do it in your head, get it over with, get the apology, but then get to a place, like move through the states, fine. Do it within so no one gets hurt. That's the idea with imagination. But then it's like, with everyone as you pushed out, it opens up your ability to be compassionate towards yourself and others, especially yourself. All right, let's do these affirmations, and I'm sure I'll do more videos on this. Of course, that was way longer than I meant it to be. Let me give you a quick success on this, and then we'll do the affirmations, okay? I've, like I said, found myself in so many scams and schemes, especially, when I first was getting into, like, just spirituality in general, and, like, doing law of attraction and all that. And there's, like, I've gained from all these situations, but, like, wanting to be seen, wanting to be heard, wanting to make a living, doing meditation, a yoga teacher. I definitely was in a desperate place when I first started. I left corporate jobs, marketing jobs, like good money jobs in good cities. And there was like a desperation to do whatever it took. So I was, of course, like following people and like letting them become the authority, letting them to tell me how to do it. Even like tantric books or whatever. Novel books, it's like, to me, I've learned to really check myself, discernment, not make it an external God. Always have discernment. It's only you decide what feels right for you. But in all the schemes where like, yes, I have paid money for things that it was not given back in return, or I've let people into my life that have tried to hurt me, hurt the business, and just take. I've had a lot of people, there's been this like assumption that people are entitled to me, my time, my money, my energy, because I'm spiritual. I remember one of the people that was working with the past company goes, oh, I just thought you would just meditate all day in the garden. And I remember for the first time properly being offended by that, Because before, I'd be like, yeah, that is what I do. I'm just love and light. And I was being like, what? No. Of course, like, I get frustrated. Of course, I get angry. Of course, I have, like, a mean streak. I have a side that, and, like, I am so thankful for that, that I've been able to, like, build that, because it felt very unwelcome growing up. And so I would, like, hide it. It was, like, my shadow. But the more empowered I get, the more I stand up for myself. Knowing I'm the creator and still standing up for myself, right? Integrating all parts of me. The more I find, yeah, I'm not. So, like, if a scam is out there in my consciousness, like, are we going to bite? The urgency, the desperation, it's just not there anymore, right? Because I've revised. I've built up the internal dialogues, the inner conversations that it's like, no, I've got all the time in the world. I'm good. I don't need to, like, be urgent about this. I don't need to be desperate.